Hello, my name is Pamela Topchian, and thanks so much for clicking on this video. So I am taking a course for Integrative Healing Arts practitioner at Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, and also known as SWIHA. And they're based in Arizona, but I'm taking the online course because I'm in California. I had went to them first back in 2009, 2010, around there, for my first hypnotherapy education and training, and was never able to completely integrate that into my life enough to be able to switch out of nursing. I was a nurse for 14 years and burned out on that pretty quickly. And I actually have a book that I'm writing that I hope to be out in January of 2024. It is close to being completed. But anyway, so so that was what led me to hypnotherapy and to Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. And I now, since in 2020, took another course here in California at the California School of Hypnotherapy, which is associated with Sacramento Hypnotherapy. So I am now a board certified hypnotherapist for 3 years, going on 4 years, just about to update or renew my certification for that at the end of this year. So in my coaching program, in the program for Integrative Healing Arts Practitioner, there's a few classes on life coaching and spiritual coaching. And one of them that's been really popular, one of the tools that we use, one of the models of coaching that we use and that we're learning about is around the 4 Agreements book. And I wish that I had a book right here to show you. I used to have the book, but I've had several moves and downsized a few times in my life. I don't have the physical book anymore, but it is on Audible. And actually, there's many versions now. There's many companion books to it. It's been so popular and so empowering for so many people. It's an amazing book, and it's just a little book, so it's kind of like a booklet, and it's not expensive at all. And I'm sure you could get it used, and I'm positive you can get it at any library. So we've been learning about coaching around this book, and it's been so popular, more so for me anyway, and for the volunteer clients that I've been taking. This has been the most popular one. So I thought I would do a little video about it to, sort of get you, see if it's something that, that resonates with you and that you would like to do, whether it's just listening through here and reflecting on it all on your own, or if you'd like to, schedule a volunteer coaching session with me, I would love to do this with you. Sometimes, talking it through, some people like that, better and get more out of it than just listening to it. So the 4 agreements, first of all, are be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. And don't make assumptions. And the 4th one is always do your best. So with the first one, be impeccable with your word. In the book, it says, it explains that one by speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using your word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. So I like to let that sink in a minute. It's so powerful, isn't it? And it's so true. We all strive to be that person that is impeccable with our word, don't we? So some of the questions that come up, and I believe that these are in the book or they're in the companion book. Like I said, there's a few companion books, I think, or a few follow-up books to the 4 Agreements. But what I've been doing with my practice clients and what we've been taught around this in the program that I'm in is, so when has your opinion hurt another, or when has another's opinion hurt you? So it's something to really think about. And what do you judge or blame yourself for? I think we're all our own worst enemy, aren't we? And how many of us, everybody, right? We all self-sabotage. We all judge ourselves. We all blame ourselves. I mean, I guess actually, there are narcissistic people, there are psychopathic people, people that don't blame themselves, that don't have the self-awareness enough um, to sort of look at their own their own role in anything that happens in their life, right? So there's a lot to unpack, really, when you ask, what do you judge or blame yourself for? And this can go way deep. This can really go deep. It can go back to things in childhood, and you might not even really realize it until you start to really give it some thought. And these questions are also really great for journal prompts. If you like the idea of journaling, or you have been journaling, or whether you have or not, and you can start out with a journal prompt. You write something at the top of the page and just let the words come, let it flow as if nobody's going to ever read it. You don't ever have to, write as though it'll ever be read by anybody else. And even if, type it out if you want to, if you're not good with writing, or you don't like writing, whatever, you can type it out too. You can even talk into your, your phone, or talk into, your laptop or whatever. But actually, when you're writing, something about writing really solidifies things. And it almost can happen almost like a meditative state, almost like automatic writing, or where you're writing and the words just flow out of you. And sometimes you never even thought of that, but here it is on the page, and it just comes to you. So it can be really a great experience. And it can be really enlightening to see what comes up when you just start writing. And a journal prompt is a good way to have something like that, to get you going, to get the creative juices flowing, and to get your mind working in that direction. So another one, when have you expressed words of doubt or fear? And what would it take to release those words of doubt and fear? So many times we doubt ourselves. We have a fear of something. And when we express them, so often there are little sayings and things where people say things like, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. Or, of course that bad thing happened, or, just, I could never do that, or I'm not good at that, or, we just sort of make these statements that are statements of doubt and, often fear. So, you want to really, being impeccable with your word is really being more mindful about your words. It's been said so many times, but it's so true that, words cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. It's kind of a little, wooey thing to say, but it's really true. Your words have so much more meaning and are so much more powerful than people give them credit for. That's why we really have to be impeccable with our word. And sometimes when we're more aware of, saying, like judging and blaming ourselves, or judging and blaming others, when we're more aware of it, we might be surprised at how often these thoughts come up, and how much we might have been like this in the past. And it might just be a habit, but the first step is being aware. So again, don't beat yourself up for, having maybe some judgmental thoughts or speaking words of doubt and fear about yourself. Just sort of on automatic pilot, sort of, we do this, just as a habit. So don't beat yourself up about that, just be aware of it and know that that awareness is what's going to change you ultimately. So then, what words will you now choose to use to create something different in your life? So we ask, when have you expressed words of doubt or fear? And what would it take to release those words? And then the next question for that one is, what words will you now choose to use to create something different in your life? So again, those words cast spells, and that's why they call it spelling, right? So choose your words wisely, be mindful with your wording. Okay, so the second agreement is don't take anything personally. And this goes for, well, let me read the little passage. So the little explanation from the author. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and the actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So often we're all guilty of this. Somebody could give us a compliment, and there was just a motorcycle. I don't know if you heard it. If somebody gives you a compliment, it feels good, right? But then if somebody turns around and says something negative about you or says something negative about somebody else, and you think, oh, that sounds like me. I wonder if they're talking about me. Or I'm just like that. They must have the same opinion about me. They're really having their opinion based on what's inside of them, based on their perception in this small little snapshot of a moment, or whatever's going on in their head and their mind and their life. Don't ever take it personally. Even the compliments, even though they feel good and it's nice to hear the compliments, it's still how they say, if your mother or your spouse or somebody gives you a compliment, you think, of course they're going to say that, they love me, they're going to say that, so it doesn't really matter, or it doesn't hold much weight, because of course they think that, right? So it's the same thing with everybody, though, even if they give you a compliment, it's nice. Sure, it's nice, but it's, don't let it get to your head. Don't take it so personally, we don't want to feel like, you don't want to put yourself up on a pedestal because of what others have said, and you don't want to put yourself down because of what others have said, So the questions around the second agreement, don't take anything personally. The questions in coaching are, what thoughts and opinions do you have in your own mind that get in the way of your greatness? So when we say your greatness, it's like your highest potential, the best that you can be. And this is the best that you can be for you at that moment. We're always evolving, learning, growing, expanding our life, improving, hopefully, right? But even if we're not, it's, we're still learning something from the experience. We're still learning. So we're still evolving and growing through the experiences, even if it seems like it's a negative, right? Even if it seems like it's something that's really hard to go through, or a tough time in your life, you're still evolving and growing from that. So the question again, what thoughts and opinions do you have in your own mind that get in the way of your greatness? So this would be something like, I could never do that. Or look at how great that person is doing at the thing that I'm trying to do, Or, this is a coaching course. We all know there's a million coaches out there, right? So I could say, and we hear so often that, well, the market is saturated, but if there's somebody nobody does anything the exact same two ways. You bring your own personality into whatever you do. So that's really a limiting belief, that's something that gets in the way of your highest potential, is thinking that the market is saturated, or thinking that you could never do something. And, you don't have to be like others either. You don't have to be the next, Marie Forleo or Tony Robbins or whoever else, you don't have to be like them to be in your greatness, because their greatness is theirs. Yours is yours, and your own unique stamp on something is what makes, what brings it out in you. And you might not even know what that is. So again, don't take anything personally, even your own opinion, right? So the second question for the second agreement, when have the actions of others become an excuse for limiting yourself? When have the actions of others become an excuse for limiting yourself? This can bring up a lot for people too. So I'll tell you, when I do these coaching questions, people have loved this, and they go deep sometimes. And some people will be writing and writing and writing, and they'll barely say a word, and that's totally fine. Some people will talk it all out and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk it all out, and that's totally fine too. Whatever you need to do, that's what we're here for. So others start crying and telling stories of their life. And, it's all perfect as it is. I love it. I love it so much, helping people to, reflect within themselves, which helps them to move forward in their lives. So anyway, so yeah, these ones get emotional for people sometimes. So what personal truth of yours differs from another and causes you difficulty? So it might be about contradictions, right? So what personal truth of yours differs from another and causes you difficulty? So I take this to mean, and others have taken this to mean, two separate things. So what personal truth of yours differs from your spouse, your partner, your loved one, and it causes a problem within yourself? Or do you have conflicting beliefs or personal truths within yourself? Are you just not sure about something, or you feel this way about something strongly, but it kind of conflicts with this thing, and it's causing a little bit of inner turmoil in there. So, that's something to really contemplate on a little bit as well. So there's one more question under the second agreement. When was the last time that you said to someone, "You make me feel blah, blah, blah." And is it really true? Did that person make you feel like that? Or is it something within you that made you feel like that? And again, that goes along with, this is under the umbrella of, this is under the agreement of don't take anything personally. So this is something too that, I remember something my mother said to me. I said that I had two older sisters when I was little, and they were 4 and 5 years older than me. So they weren't just 1 and 2 years older than me. And I said, that I told my mom that my sister was making me so mad. And she said, nobody can make you feel anything that you don't want to feel. And I always remember that. And she was so wise in so many ways. If you have listened to any of the podcast interviews that I've been on, or read any of my books, or I only have one book right now out. If you read my memoir, you'll know that I had a really pretty rough childhood. But my mother had it really tough, trying to raise three girls on her own. And ultimately, one of those girls, one of my sisters was killed in a car accident. So it was really tough for her. But not to get sidetracked there, but I remember her having these little, words of wisdom that came out that I remember so many years later that were really so, angelic or Buddha-like, just, almost like, just she had these little nuggets of wisdom within her that she tried to pass down to us. And obviously some of it really stuck because I remember. So, nobody can make you feel anything. It may feel like that they have or they do or they are making you feel that way because of something they said. It triggered you, or that was meant to, it was meant to trigger you. It was meant to make you feel a certain way. But that's on you, how you feel. Don't take anything personally. Put up that sort of that barrier, or ask yourself, is that really true? Is that what they're saying? Is that really true? What evidence is there to that? And if we're doing the best that we can, and which is another agreement, but if we're doing the best that we can, we don't take anything personally. When you can't tell somebody that they are making you feel a certain way, because it's really you are making you feel a certain way. Okay. Number 3, the third agreement, don't make assumptions. So find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Don't make assumptions. So we know what they say, right? I'm not going to say it, but the ASSUM, E for assume. So the questions that go along with this: when was the last time that you asked for what you wanted from a friend or a partner or a loved one or anyone? When did you ask for what you wanted? When did you just come out and say, this is what I want? And what happened? It's good to reflect on these things, isn't it? These are some awesome questions. And I don't know if I said it in the beginning. I think I did. I think that these questions are also in the physical book or in the companion book. But they're also great journal prompts. So when was the last time that you asked for what you wanted from a friend or a partner, and what happened? And have you ever said or thought, you should know? So you're just assuming that they should know something, that they should be able to pick up on something that you feel like you are making perfectly clear. But if you haven't come out and said it, then you're not making it perfectly clear, right? Or maybe you said it in a roundabout way, but you feel in your mind you were clear about it, but maybe you weren't. I find myself a lot of times saying, let me see, if I want to say something like, I can't think of something right now, but I end up saying a lot of roundabout things because I'm used to, again, if you know my story, I'm used to sort of walking on eggshells with my partners, with my exes. And So I find myself asking things sort of in a roundabout way and to not cause any disruption. But everything works better when I just come out and ask what I'm really asking, what I really want to know. And I wish I could think of an example right now, but of course I can't. But so, something like I don't know, something like, were you gonna eat that, or did you need this, or were you gonna use this? And, what I really want to know is, you know, is it okay if I have that? Or is it okay if I put this away? Or I don't know, you know, what are you doing on this date instead of would you like to go do this on this date? Um, trying to find out if they had plans before I ask if they would like to do something, something like that. I don't know. Those aren't very good, but but you get the idea, I hope. Um, and I think, have you ever said or thought you should know, kind of goes more along with the lines of, you know, um, they should be treating you in a way, or they should be doing something without you even um, asking or letting them know that that's important to you. And then you end up bitter that they didn't know or they didn't think of it themselves. So I think that's more of what that's about. But whatever that means to you and whatever comes up for you when you hear that, that's what that is about. So what sadness and dramas have existed in your life because of assumptions? And what assumptions will you now replace with the truth? So it's always good to ask, is this true? What evidence do I have? You know? So the fourth agreement is always do your best. And the explanation from the author is your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to when you are sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So this makes me think of when I was in nursing school. I felt like I couldn't do it because I ended up getting a GED because I had my son at 17, and so I didn't get to finish high school. So I went to do my GED, and so I felt very sort of inferior because of that. And I kind of assumed that I couldn't really go to college. And when I did go, I thought, well, I don't know anything about medical stuff. I don't know anything about this or that, or, I just didn't think that I could do it. And, and, I sort of felt like, if I'm going to do this, then I have to give it my all. And if I fail or if I don't make it for whatever reason, at least I have done my best. So any time that I had that I could study, I would study. And, this includes, don't take self-care as wasting time and not studying. This includes taking care of yourself, getting enough sleep, eating properly, getting enough rest. Um, you know, taking time for yourself is very important in so many ways, and you'll do better ultimately if you've had enough sleep and you've eaten properly and everything else. But taking the time to study instead of procrastinating, or instead of saying, making excuses and just not doing it, or feeling like, well, I'm not going to make it anyway, so why bother? um, you know so I did my absolute best. I studied the best that I could. I took advantage of all of the, study groups, the studies. There was a study skills class that I took. And, there were tutoring and stuff if you needed it. So I took advantage of everything that I possibly could. And I knew that I did the best I could and gave it the best shot that I could give. And I made it. I did really well. So, but even if I didn't, then it would be like, well, I know that I put everything that I could into it. So always do your best. And then I wouldn't have had a regret that I could have done anything differently. It would have been like, well, that was not the right thing for me, or obviously it wasn't something that, fit for me. It wasn't, what the universe wanted for me, right? It's something different, But anyway, so when was the last time that you did something for the pure love out of it instead of receiving a reward from it? So that seems like a whole different thing, right? So I love to paint. They're not great. They're okay. Some people have bought some of my paintings. And I'm just amazed every time somebody wants to buy them. But, but I just do it because I love doing it. I never paint for the product at the end, because I'm so self-critical of them. And I know they're not great. And I've only started in 2019, and, and I don't really beat myself up for it, because I'm not trying to be a great painter. I do it for me. I do it because it feels good for my soul to paint. I just love it that much. And, so that's one good example of doing something for the pure love of it instead of receiving any kind of reward for it. And that goes along with, taking any kinds of classes or courses. If you don't get a certificate, or you don't get any kind of licensure or anything that's going to help you in your, help you in your business, or help you in your, to make money somehow, or to help you in anything else, but it's just because you enjoy the information, you enjoy the subject, you want to know more, that's the reward. You're going to learn from it, and you will have more knowledge on that. It's not because of what else you can get from it, right? So that can go for so many things. The last time you did something for the pure love of it instead of receiving a reward for it. And that goes along with a partner or a friend, doing something for somebody else because you love them and not because you're expecting something back from them. Not keeping score. Well, I did this for you, checking it off, So what piece of your past are you now willing to let go of to make way for the realization of your dreams? Ooh, that can be a big one for people too, right? What piece of your past are you now willing to let go of to make way for the realization of your dreams? So I don't want to answer all of these with my own answers or try to explain all of them, because I want you to sort of, either journal on them or think of your own sort of scenarios in your own mind. And when I'm coaching, just the practice coaching with people, I just read it and I hold space for them, give them the time. If they are talking and want feedback, absolutely, we can do that. If they get really emotional or they're just writing things down, I'm just holding space for them. Completely non-judgmental space, a complete safe space. So, I'm just not talking to anybody but myself on a screen here. So that's why I've been giving some of my own. So I don't want to do that really with every one of them. Excuse me. So always do your best. What ideas you have that you are still sitting on instead of taking action. What ideas do you have that you are still sitting on instead of taking action? And hopefully you have some ideas, because I think that we're always, or we should be always growing and evolving and learning. And, you know, there should always be something. I think it's healthy to always have something in your mind that you're interested in and you want to learn more about, or a goal, to have a goal or plan that you're working on or even thinking about. But really, what's keeping you from taking action? So it's kind of good to contemplate on what is holding me back from taking this action now, and even thinking about it in that way is a good step forward. Just starting to think about it more is forward action. Even that one small little step is forward action. So the last question that we have, that I have been taught to coach around with the 4 agreements, is: when has doing your best been too much? And I wonder what that means for you, because that could mean different things for different people, right? When has doing your best been too much? And what does too much mean, right? It could mean several things as well. So this one, like I said, has been so popular. I've had so many people interested in doing this type of coaching with me. So if you're interested, get a hold of me, and I'll put all the links in the description below. Wherever this is posted, it's going to be on YouTube, but if I post it somewhere in social media or whatever, send me a message. It's easy to find how to reach me, but I'll put some links in the description as well. So I hope that you have enjoyed this, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of what that might be like to to contemplate more and to think more on the 4 agreements. So thanks again so much for being here. Bye.